Hello, guys, and welcome back to What's Up Wednesdays, Professionals of the Roundtable. And unfortunately, today Tara wasn't able to make it, but we do have a good conversation for you guys. We're going to be talking about some good stuff today, especially as far as general wellness awareness. That's going to be the main kind of overarching topic today. And before we get into our conversation, I just want to make sure you guys like and subscribe to all of our social media channels. We're here on Rumble as well as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So please check out those social media platforms and please give us a like and a follow. And as you know, like I've been saying, the more people that like and subscribe to our channels, the better the content we can produce for you. And yeah, um, we can get right into it. Today, oh, I forgot to mention today we have Meena Patel or my mom, who is also going to join with me on expanding on this topic today.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Okay. And the topic, like I said, is general wellness awareness, and this kind of was brought up uh, because of some of the experiences we've had this week. Talking with my mom, she's come to learn about different things as far as how she can improve her health and wellness, and she's actually found out some things that have really worked for her this week. And we kind of wanted to touch on those things and share with you guys what's really worked for her this week. And there's actually a decent amount of science and methodology behind the things that she's added to her routine this week. And she can kind of give the stage for her to let you know how the week has gone and how what she's done and how she's felt after doing those things.
Thank you. So I want to start by saying that I'm a hypnotherapist and EFT, emotional freedom technique practitioner. And this is very important to me because the first thing I ask when people come in to see me is, so how's your gut, you know? And how is your sleep? Okay. Those are the questions I ask. How's your energy? Those are my main questions I ask because when people come in to see me, it's because things are going wrong in their life, mentally, emotionally, or they're not going the way they want it to go. There are things they want to change, and it's the mental, emotional component that they're coming to see me about. What I've understood and realized over time is there is mind, there's body, there's energy, there's emotion, and there's spirit. If you try to fix things just with the body, as Western medicine approaches most things, or you come to me and say, oh, I've got this issue going on, and you want to fix it, and you think it's mental emotional component, and you just want to fix it with mental emotional. That's it. Look, you still have three things standing up here that you need to address. In order to move past things, you need to address it from more than one or two components. The more components you address it with, you're looking to say goodbye to the problem. If you don't address it in all components, maybe in some shape or form, it'll come back to you to address it. You know, if you move it from your mind and emotions, maybe it's still stuck in your body and maybe it'll give you problems with health issues because everything starts with the mind and the emotions. You cannot create your reality in this world without your mind and your emotions. If you don't have a thought that you want to do something, you can't make something happen. If you don't have a feeling for something, you're not going to do it. Okay? You need both of them to come together to actually manifest. Because if you think you want to do something, but you have no feeling for it, you're not going to take steps to make it happen. If you have feelings for something, but you don't know what, you also cannot make it happen. You need to put the two of them together in order to manifest. Okay? So In this reality, even your health issues, your illnesses, your mind and your emotions manifest it. If you're stressed, you're compromising yourself for whatever's to come next. Usually it's a mental, emotional thing, or it ends up being a physical illness. We manifest our and create our reality. Okay. But saying that and talking about mind and emotions here, let's move on to the whole connection between mind, emotions, body, your energy, and overall well being. Because I want to share with you my story, right? So I've had dysautonomia. You can call it chronic fatigue if you want another label that makes sense to people, fibromyalgia, since after my children were born. And I've been dealing with it for a while. Before that, I was a healthy, functioning person, and I exercise a lot. I love to exercise. I ate generally healthy foods, um, and I didn't really have many health issues. But after I had my children, I ended up with my health issues. I was sleeping 16 hours a day. I had no blood in my face. Had no energy to do much. I couldn't remember things like I used to remember. And I didn't understand what happened, how it happened. And I was too busy caught up in taking care of my kids to actually even know what to do. I didn't even know for almost 6 to 8 months or longer that I had this issue. I was living as if everything was good and normal and trying to function. And then when I did understand, because people are saying, "Hey, are you okay? This is not going right. What's going on?" So I went to the doctors. Of course, they want to tell you, "Oh, you're depressed." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I got 3 kids. I want to be here. I want to wake up every morning. I'm not depressed. There's something else going on." But that's the automatic label that people put on, right? There's a problem. If they can't physically figure out what your problem is, the automatic thing they want to do is say, "You're depressed." And I said to Danny, and I said, "I'm not depressed. I don't know what they're talking about." One of my doctors sent me to have it assessed. And in 2 sessions, the guy's like, "We're done. I don't see any depression going on here. You're not clinically depressed. And see if there's something else." I tried many diets and things like the Gerson therapy, which really helped me. I guess I didn't understand totally why. It was um, kind of a vegan vegetarian diet, more of a vegan, but I added cheese and bread. So probably not so vegan. Um, I was doing well. I had gained too much weight with my health issue. I wasn't moving much. The medication I was on for dysautonomia, not for the, I didn't have depression, but for the dysautonomia caused me to gain weight. A lot of things were going wrong. Hair loss. Um, it was helping me have energy. I added supplements and things to my diet, and I thought I was doing fine. Still now, I've come a long way. I no longer take medication. I use the herbs that Danny gives me, and they're great. I'm trying to get back to exercising, and I've been exercising with my daughter every day. I am trying to understand what's the right thing. My mind is always about running, because I used to run in when I was young in high school and in college, and even further past that. So my mentality is to do exercise, and it's always aggressive. Every time I do it and I'm thinking I want to lose weight and get back to my body, um, I will I end up with not gaining weight. I mean, not losing weight, and sometimes gaining weight. And also some swelling and things like that. And everything always works against me, not for me, to achieve the result I came out to achieve. Because the mind and emotions, I'm feeling okay. I've addressed a lot of things in my life, and that's why I feel I'm able to help people. And I feel very successful about it. Um, I'll speak for myself personally. I feel successful about how I feel and how I've addressed those things. The only thing left for me to do is address those mind and emotion things that are stuck in my physical body. And honestly, I gotta say, I didn't know how, even knowing with all nutritional stuff. Now I've come a long way with my energy. I'm not sleeping like all the time like I used to. I have more blood in my face, more energy. I'm capable of doing more things. But Sahan here told me, was it a couple of years ago, Sahan, that you said to me, you're just not eating enough food.
Yeah. Um, Pretty much what was going on was she was, like she said, sleeping a lot throughout the day due to the chronic fatigue, and at the same time, her body was in a state of rest for most of the hours of the day. But while she was awake, she wasn't really consuming anywhere near enough protein and even enough calories um, to sustain her body's function in general. I noticed she would rarely eat, and if she did eat, it was a meal, and she was still having concerns and issues about weight loss or having more energy or things like that for general fitness, and it just wasn't working for it. And when I started becoming more aware about calorie consumption, how many calories are your maintenance, what puts you in a deficit, what puts you in a surplus, I started understanding that um, you need a certain amount of calories for your body to function at its optimal rate. And if you are underfeeding yourself, then my kind of philosophy is that your body will not want to let go of the weight that it has because it's holding on to that as its life force and life energy. So you need to keep supplying your body with the correct amount of food and the correct amount of protein so that all of your metabolic processes are occurring the right way and they are occurring efficiently and that they have enough energy from the food you're consuming in order to do so. Otherwise, your body's only really gonna put its energy towards the most life-saving biological processes, which would probably include your heart pumping and all of those other vital organs as well. You're not gonna have It's not gonna put energy use to parts of the body that it deems unnecessary. What I kind of would get for just an example for what could be something that's unnecessary: hair, nail health, skin health. Those are all kind of secondary to all of the other vital organ health. And when you're not eating enough, you're not supplying your body enough energy for all your organs to function, and that's why sometimes it very often manifests as problems in the skin, the hair, the nails, and also the gut as well, because underfeeding can affect your stomach as well. So I kind of was bringing it up to her that she's actually uh, not eating enough, and it was kind of contradicting in the way that, oh, to lose the weight, I need to be eating more than what I'm eating now. But um, once she fully understood and where I was coming from and what I was talking about, I think she she started applying it to her own life, and she can tell you now about what how she goes about it.
Yeah, I mean, let me just stress how mental emotional that is. I mean, not eating enough, I guess mentally, emotionally, and I'm just saying this for the first time, thinking it out as you're talking about it, Sahan. In the end, mental, emotional, scarcity, right? Not having enough, always struggling a little bit. Um, always, always on the edge, always, doing everything, putting all your energy forward, and yet always falling short, you know? So think about how in daily life we always feel that way, whether it's for work, whether it's for trying to work with in your family and how you feel. Now, for me, I have to say, like I said, mentally, emotionally, I work with a lot of things for myself. So I don't necessarily have those feelings, but it's stuck in my body. I'm still behaving that way in one way or another, not in other ways, but here it is, right? Not eating enough food and keeping myself in that kind of hungry mode. And interestingly, and I'm going to share this with you because, this is the platform to talk about all health issues. So, a few things, like he said, um, things that are not necessary um, are not functioning properly, right? Rest, you sleep, but not enough, right? Or you rest and you're having enough sleep, but it's not deep sleep. So you don't feel rested enough. That was happening for me. I'll sleep for hours and not feel rested enough. Okay. The other thing was happening for me is my gut. My gut will react to foods all the time, you know. Eat a little sour, a little bit of spicy, and it's not happy. Um, and then the other thing is if you look at how you're passing your food, and for me, it was not, you go and it's like, well, I don't have stool formation here in a way that is normal and healthy, but I say, okay, it's my gut, I have gut issues. It's a part of my health issue. So this is how I'm moving along, doing my best, and then getting excited when some things are normal and not understanding exactly why it's not all working out. And so with that, there is the part about exercising right, because I told you that I was doing the the aggressive exercise, because that's just the exercise I'm used to doing. If I was walking 3.8 miles per hour on the treadmill for like 30 minutes or more, and going on strolls with my daughter in the last month or so at night. And it's not strenuous, and I'm learning from my daughter and Sahan here that zone 2, it helps with burning calories, burning fat and weight reduction much better than trying to go 3.8 miles an hour on the treadmill. And I found that taking strolls, my hands and feet, I wasn't getting the swelling, and I was actually getting to lose the weight, but it wasn't continuous because it was yo-yoing back and forth. I wasn't getting too much weight. I was losing the weight I wanted to lose, right? But not as much, and it wasn't as fast. And sometimes I would gain a little bit, right? So just the other day, finally, my daughter says, why don't you just, as Sahan's told me multiple times before, you're not eating much. So he says, why don't you just monitor and count how much protein you're taking in and how many calories. So she got on and calculated what is it? The top number, is it the sustainability number? Can you explain that, Sahan?
Usually when you're trying to calculate what your maintenance calories are, uh, I think the most common one is my calorie calculator. If it's you can just Google what's it called? Uh, Calorie uh, what is your personal maintenance calories, or how to calculate for your own maintenance calories. You can just search that up on Google, and actually a calculator for it, and it asks you questions about how tall you are, how much you weigh, and how often you're doing physical activity throughout the week. And as far as that, you give a number, um, and it tells you from, I think the range is from 1 to 6. 1 is rarely ever doing any type of physical activity, and 6 is you're doing some type of intense activity every single day. And what you do with that calculator is you input all your details, and it gives you that that specific site. The My Calorie calculator will give you different calorie numbers per what your goals are. It'll give you your basal metabolic rate, which is your base amount of calories just for you to function, just for you to survive, not including anything as far as exercise or anything like that. It's just the basal metabolic rate, the most basic amount of energy your body needs per day to keep functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll give you, and that number is usually very low, and you wouldn't want to be eating that low. That number is way too low of a number for you to want to eat. And then it'll give you a number to be in a calorie deficit. It'll tell you what amount deficit you'll be in, and then it'll give your maintenance calories, and then it'll give you uh, calorie numbers for if you're in a want to be in a calorie surplus. So the main numbers that you really need to keep aware of and keep track of is um, that maintenance calorie standpoint, because that's where you're gonna want to tweak the numbers just a bit as per your goals. If you are comfortable in the body that you have right now, and you aren't experiencing uh, anything unhealthy, or you just feel good and at the weight you are, at the height you are, usually you can just stick to your maintenance calories because that's enough to sustain you. But if you're looking to go into some weight loss program, you would would very likely want to be in a calorie deficit, but be in a healthy calorie deficit, which would be around the the 300 range. I think 300 is a good number. So that means you would be eating 300 calories less than what your maintenance is every day, and slowly you're going to see weight loss over the weeks. It could be I'm not sure exactly how much weight you can lose from a 300 calorie deficit, but it could be anywhere like a half a pound a week. But by by you doing a 300 calorie deficit, you're still giving your body the base energy that it needs. And my mom was actually finding that even now eating at her in a calorie deficit, that's that's more, or a 300 calorie deficit, that's more than she was ever eating to begin with. She was eating very close to her basal metabolic rate, which is not
Under,
recommended.
under, under.
Oh, under her, which one? Under maintenance or under BMR?
Whatever the lower number is that
The
you should consume at least that much. I was eating under that.
Yeah, so she was eating below her basal metabolic rate, and that's why she was experiencing all of the things she just mentioned to you about. So I think really taking a day to or a week eating at maintenance or eating in a slight deficit, if you are experiencing any of the problems or issues that my mom was talking about, or you are looking to either gain weight or lose weight, definitely having a good idea about how much food your body needs per day is always good to know, because people don't even have the slightest concept about how much food they should be consuming in a day, especially when people are working many hours of the day. They tend to eat less and not get enough food in, and that really impacts their sleep, their recovery, and every other aspect of life.
Health
And
and wellness.
yeah, health and wellness. And yeah, so making sure that you are uh, in either a surplus or a deficit that is not too substantial is super important, because you don't want to have that yo-yo effect that a lot of people have. When
Mhm.
you go into extreme deficit or an extreme surplus, there is more uh, there's less reward the deeper you go into either your calorie surplus or your calorie deficit. You want to be around what your maintenance is, and of course, day to day you can be a little bit higher, but If you take the average of your calories uh, per year, even, it should be roughly around what your maintenance calories is based on that calorie calculator. And I think, of course, I don't want people to obsess over um, counting calories, but I think it's a very useful tool, especially when you try it out for a week or two and you experience some of the benefits and realize, oh, maybe I was undereating this time, or maybe I was severely overeating. It really gives you a good perspective on how much energy your body needs each day.
Mhm.
And I think that's super important.
It definitely. I mean, I had no concept of where I was. I had no concept if I was eating enough food to sustain me and keep me healthy. And and honestly, if you don't know and you don't understand that you're not eating enough or you're eating too much, you're compromising your body, right? For illnesses and health issues and mental emotional things, all kinds of things. And that and then we go to the doctor and ask for medication and this and that. Well, what happened, honestly, what happened yesterday for the first time, my daughter helped me calculate the calories I was supposed to be at, my maintenance calories and how much less I should eat if I want to lose weight because I feel I want to lose weight. So I was going 300 under. And like Sahan suggested, and looking at the portion size, I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of food. And I'm thinking, I don't eat that much food in a day. I eat way under the amount. Like 500 calories in a meal is a lot. You know, I eat fruit, I eat some vegetables, I eat some chicken. By the time I'm done, I think I'm hitting like 1,000 calories around, but you have no concept unless you actually take the time out to measure and count calories and understand what you're supposed to eat. I used to do that a long time ago when I was in my 20s, being healthy and everything. I have long forgotten that. It's out of my brain. And I have not even understood the concept well enough until yesterday. So I ate the right amount of calories yesterday, the right amount content of food. We eat whole foods, we eat healthy, we have a healthy, clean diet. So that was never the concern. The concern was the amount of food.
Yeah, and even when you were eating all these um, whole healthy foods, you were still experiencing all of those issues at the same time. So it wasn't a matter of food quality, but actually quantity.
Yes, definitely. Because if you're not getting enough energy, how can your body function right? And immediately within the day, I'll wake up next morning and you know what? I've been exercising, like I said, in the past few months and doing my walks. And I flipped like a coin, to the other side. Instead of having too much sleep, I was like going to sleep late because I wasn't tired. And when I say late, I mean like 1, 2 o'clock, and then getting up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning because my body's waking me up. And I'm thinking, oh, this is good, right? But when I'm looking at the number of hours of sleep I was getting, I was not getting enough sleep. So I either had too much or too less. And I think Sahan will explain in a minute once I finish saying everything. Um, of how not having enough sleep or exercise and things like that, probably calorie deficit and too much exercise, maybe, um, or nutritional deficit. Let's just say that because calories doesn't exactly make sense, but it's a calorie in a nutritional deficit. And not having enough and exercising too much, I was too wired and not getting enough sleep. And But yesterday, I ate enough. I did my exercise. I went to sleep. In the morning, I was supposed to get up. I said, "Oh, I'll get up. I've been getting up for the last month early." I was feeling so rested. The alarm went off. I'm like, "Oh gosh, I'm tired. I need another hour at least of sleep. And I felt good. I felt full of energy, you know? I wanted to sleep. And it wasn't that light sleep where you don't feel good. It was good quality sleep. I woke up, I went and used the bathroom. I'm like, wow, this has never happened before. Solid stool, get on the scale, already lost a pound. I said, I ate more food yesterday than I normally do, did my normal exercise, slept better, good bowel movement, and I lost a pound in a day. You know what? I have full of energy. This is like a moment for me to look at and to share with everybody that if you eat too little or you eat too much, you have to eat what's right for you, you know? And don't yo yo. That's another thing that kids do these days. Bulking and cutting is a big thing. It's that I know clearly, and I've educated my kids like that yo yoing is really bad for you because those are huge swings. Okay. But and then so Sahan will probably explain about the sleep and how not having enough calories or whatever might have impact. But honestly, the zone to exercising really also needs to be talked about. The right exercise and the right amount of nutritional food is very important for balance. And I'm looking forward to losing the weight on a consistent basis till I get to where I need to be. And I'm already feeling better in one day. So, Sahan, can you explain about what I was just saying, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of cover multiple different areas of what you're talking about, but I'm gonna base it around the whole thing of undereating and overeating. Um, so I have some of my side notes with me right here. Um, for right now, I'm gonna kind of discuss about what overeating and undereating can do as far as impact on your GI tract and your gut. Um, when you are overeating, usually that's gonna be uh, or gonna have gonna mean that you're consuming excess sugar, refined carbs, or fat beyond what your mitochondria can oxidize. And when that happens, this leads to fermentation of undigested foods in the gut. And this fermentation is going to feed the harmful bacteria and yeast in your gut, which is then going to counteract all of the good microbiomes and bacteria in your gut. And you want a healthy balance between um, all of the populations in your stomach. Of course, there are going to be the harmful bacteria, but if there is the correct balance between all of the populations, there's so many different strains and types of bacteria in your stomach. Millions or billions. I don't even know how large scale the
Billions.
yeah billions.
Billions.
There's billions of different bacteria in your gut, and when they're in the optimal ratio for your body, that's when you're going to function the best. But when you're overeating, like I said, it's going to lead to the fermentation of undigested foods, and that's going to feed all of the harmful bacteria and the yeast, which you don't want. And also another thing about overeating, studies show that overeating triggers low-grade gut inflammation, and gut inflammation is going to give you symptoms such as bloating, and it's going to cause looser and more irregular stools, which, like we discussed, I think is a problem for so many people, especially in the United States. I've experienced um, this when I was in my own bulking phase that I now understand is not the best way to go about putting on excess weight. But I really noticed the bloating and the regular stools, and it really is hard to recover from. It's not something that you do and you mess up and can fix within a matter of days. It requires a lot of recorrecting. So when you're affecting your gut, especially in this type of way, you're causing damage that is going to require a lot of undoing. So not putting your foot in towards that bad direction in the first place is going to set you up for 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 a better everything, better sleep, better energy, better mood, better everything. And I think that's super important too. But most of the people in America, I think, are experiencing any a, a number of the symptoms that I just talked about. And
Mm.
that's pretty much sums up overeating and how it relates to the gut. Now I'm gonna go over undereating. Um, and usually people don't even think about undereating as a bad thing because everyone is so focused on calorie restriction or not or starving themselves to look a certain way, and that's also not a good thing too. That's pretty much the extreme opposite of bulking. You're starving yourself to look a certain way, or you're working so hard that you're not eating enough to supply yourself with enough energy each day. So when you're under eating and starving yourself, that's going to reduce energy for your gut cells, and your gut cells are called enterocytes. And the enterocytes rely on nutrients such as butyrate and amino acids to repair themselves. So that says a lot in itself right there. And then when you undereat, also it's going to lower stomach acid and also digestive enzyme production, which is going to lead to incomplete digestion, digestion, and harder, drier stools. So right there, when I said leading to incomplete digestion, that means you're not absorbing your nutrients from your food. So the food that's going into your stomach is pretty much going in, and all of the nutrients that are in there are passing out through your stool, and you're not
Definitely.
getting any nowhere near the amount of nutritional content that you need. So first of all, when you're under eating, you're not even getting the correct amount of nutrients to begin with because you're not eating enough food. So the quantities for all of your nutrient or vitamin RDIs for the day are not being met. But on top of those not being met, um, you're you're also experiencing incomplete digestion, and so you're losing out on nutrients in that case as well. So that's going to affect your stool even more. And
Mhm.
then now if we go down to prolonged calorie restriction, which is for people that have been doing maybe uh, consuming very low calories for long periods of time, that's going to raise cortisol levels significantly. And when cortisol levels are raised significantly or are out of whack, that causes a number of other problems. That causes you to not be able to get enough rest or deep rest. And like you said, feeling tired even though you're sleeping 16 hours of the day, that's
Mhm.
that's definitely related to gut issues. And another side effect of the cortisol increasing is the thinning of the gut lining, which is not good, and it's pretty much eating away at at the barrier that's protecting your gut. And this increases the intestinal permeability, and that intestinal permeability is called leaky gut. And that's why you hear all this stuff about leaky gut. It also has to do some uh, I mean, under eating also plays a crucial role in leaky gut, like I just said, with cortisol, thinning the gut lining, and then all of these things in the end lead to leaky gut. So you're setting yourself up for failure if you're if you're not aware of this. And that's why I think it's titled General Wellness Awareness, this episode today, because I think a lot of people don't have the slightest concept of of what they should be eating. Something as simple as food, they don't have the slightest concept of how much they should be consuming per day. And if if they don't know that information, then all of these things can occur.
I do want to say before you continue that eating and counting calories doesn't mean that you go to McDonald's and get a burger and say, "Oh, here's a burger that is like 400 and almost 500 calories. I met my, and then I'm having two or three of those and I met my calorie intake." That is bad. There's no nutritional value in that meal. So you may be eating the calories but not getting the nutrition. But what you need to be eating is whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and meats. Local is best, not processed. Like for example, what I ate today, I had lots of fruit, strawberries, watermelon, all kinds of berries, and then chicken and eggs. Um, that's what I had. We made them all at home. It was not store bought, and that is a good healthy way. Now try to eat that in the right amount of calories. I think that's what is the right kind of thing to see if you can fill your calories with. If you want to add more calories or something, like eat some rice. I think avocado is. I've been educated enough to say avocados is nutrient dense, and so is honey, which I did not know honey was so nutrient or calorie dense. Sorry, calorie dense, not nutrient dense. So if you're trying to make up calories, have an avocado or put honey on something. Sorry, I cut you off there, but I wanted to say that because I don't want people to think, okay, I need to eat so much calories, and then they just go and eat something that has no value.
Yeah, and that's why I made that little spreadsheet or tool on the Fridays podcast. I think during during the month of May, I put out a little tool sheet that gave a list of the most nutrient dense foods that you can consume and all of the uh, percentages of the RDIs that you're getting for all the vitamins that you need each day. And I put that on a list on one of the Friday episodes, just so you guys could use them and really try to target or prioritize specific foods. And then if you find yourself needing more calories, then you can backfill on even more nutrient dense foods that you enjoy. So that list is there for you to prioritize the correct foods so you are meeting all of your nutritional demands as far as recommended daily intakes for all of your vitamins and minerals. And then you're also understanding what foods to look for, what foods to maybe avoid, because you don't want to be consuming things like McDonald's, which are just going to be pretty much useless, not useless calories, but calories without any nutritional value at all. You need to be getting both with what you're eating. You need to be getting the calories, which is the actual energy that your body needs, but you also need to be consuming all of these vitamins and minerals because these are the things that facilitate all of your bodily processes. They are needed because they facilitate how your energy is used and everything that goes on with your body as well. And if all those intakes are not met as far as vitamins and minerals, then your body is not functioning optimally either. And I think it's super important not to just focus on the calories, but nutritional content. And that's what I think is the down one of the downfalls of of how bodybuilding approaches how bodybuilding approaches calories and their relationship between it because you find people trying to consume foods with low calories and high protein content, but then sometimes those foods are not going to be very nutrient dense. Of course, proteins like salmon, fish, and chicken are going to also have very high nutritional content, but um, people kind of see it as a way out. They'll get in their protein or a certain amount of calories, then they'll just eat pretty much like dead weight in food. They'll eat things that don't add up at all nutritionally,
Mhm.
which is not good.
And can you talk about the zone 2 exercising? Because that was very important for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk about so there's 5 zones as far as exercising goes, and these 5 zones um, differentiate how hard you're working or the intensity of which you're exercising at. Zone one is going to be very light. Usually, it's going to be a cool down or something that's not gonna bring your max heart rate up too much. It's gonna be around 50 to 60% of your max heart rate.
Can you give
And
example of that? Is that like a yoga or stretching?
it's not really yoga or stretching. It's imagine just very, very easy paced walk that you're strolling, super easy, and you can hold a full conversation without having to take a single breath. It's pretty much actually I think it does fall under the not the category of stretching, but um more of warming up and
Mm,
dynamic stretching. So something like dynamic stretching or doing active recovery. Usually
mm,
this is this zone occurs usually at the beginning and the end of intense workouts, and it's just to warm the body up. You're like I said, you're only raising your heart rate to around 50 to 60%, and you're not doing anything crazy. So
Does calisthenics count? Like if you're standing and doing arm circles, or you decide to do squats and you're doing it slow, does that count? I'm just asking so I understand what zone one is.
it depends on how many reps or how close to failure you're going. If you do maybe one to two reps, you're not really spiking up the heart rate that much. The examples that I have here on my notes is walking, gentle cycling, light mobility, or yoga, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay, got it.
sometimes if calisthenics is super easy for you and
Mm,
very effortless for you, then maybe this could fall under your zone one. But zone one, all of these zones are relative to each person because
okay.
maybe walking for someone can be very tiring and cause their heart rate to be over 50 to 60%, which is from zone one. So walking for someone could be in the zone at a super steady pace, or a super slow pace can be zone two or zone three for someone, while a
Mm,
more fit person it could fall under the zone one range. So it's all relative to the person.
got it.
But zone two, which is next, which is the one I recommend that people uh, focus on if they're trying to lose weight. That's going to be around 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. And how it's going to feel is that you're going to be doing exercise at a comfortable, steady pace, and you're going to be um, taking more deep breaths while you're performing this exercise, but you can still hold a conversation or talk in full sentences. So maybe you're walking at a good pace, but you're getting a little tired, not fully tired, but you're having to take some deep breaths in and out of your conversation with someone. So say uh, like you were saying you take walks with Karina at nighttime. So when you guys are going on the walk, maybe you're going at a pace where you guys can still talk to each other, but
Yes.
maybe in between or when one person's talking, you're taking in more deep breaths, and then when the other person's talking, that person is also taking in some deep breaths while they're
Ye-
not actively talking. That's pretty much what zone two would look like for a person, or how it would feel like. And zone two is actually very good because physiologically, um, you're primarily having fat oxidation occur, and what that's doing is it's pretty much training your body to use fat efficiently, and it's going to improve mitochondrial density and endurance. So you're increasing your cardiovascular endurance, improving your mitochondrial density, which is going to give you more energy and efficiency, and 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 you're losing weight at the same time. So it, you're pretty you're doing a lot of good things in zone two, while also not compromising recovery or being too strenuous on the body to where it's not able to recover at night. Because what happens is when you're in a deficit, you technically are not giving your body enough nutrients and energy for the day if you're eating in a deficit. So while you're eating in a deficit, you don't want to be doing activities that are constantly wearing and tearing on your body, because your body is not getting enough food that it actually needs because of the deficit. So that's going to make recovery even harder than than when you're on what then when you're running on maintenance calories. So this is a really good zone to be in when you're exercising, because you can trigger things like cardiovascular endurance and increasing cardiovascular endurance, and also prioritizing fat oxidation, so which will help you lose fat and lose weight while not sacrificing your body's ability to recover at all,
I
which I
want to
think is super important.
I want to say one thing which is important because of everything you just said. What came to my mind is, for example, for somebody like me, um, I'm I'm at a eating at a calorie deficit majority of the time, all the time, right? That's my normal intake, and I need to lose weight. That's an interesting thing. Why am I overweight when I'm not eating enough calories? Why am I not looking skinny and anorexic? You got to understand, just because you're eating at a calorie deficit, you're not going to look skinny and anorexic. Not everybody looks that way because maybe you get inflammation. Like he was saying, that your cortisol levels are messed up and it causes inflammation. The leaky gut will cause inflammation. So many things will happen in your body that may not present as you're skinny because you're not eating enough of food, and you look like you're in a calorie deficit or something like that. Because not having enough nutrition messes up all your pathways, and maybe your fat's not burning enough, that all you're doing, as Sahan has told me before, you're just storing all your fat. And that's why you don't look like you're skinny when you're at a calorie deficit. So the package may not look like that. That's a very confusing thing. I don't look like I'm not eating enough. I look like I'm eating more than enough. But people don't understand. When they look at me, they don't understand that. I don't understand that when I look in the mirror. I'm thinking, oh, I must need to cut my food intake. It's not true. I need to have enough food in order to have my fat burning process go right. And I'm not storing the fat. And then when I'm doing zone two, I'm burning it. You know, that's important to understand that. Sorry, Sahan, I wanted to say that.
No, yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up, because it shows exactly how a lot of people misjudge or misplace their thoughts when they just say, "Oh, just eating a calorie deficit." But it's really not that simple. You have to make sure that all these other things um, are met during your weight loss process, so that it's happening at a rate where your body is not fighting against you, or holding on to fat or excess tissue that it doesn't need. And when you're, like I said, when you're holding on to excess fat, and you are in a calorie deficit, it's because the food that you're getting is not giving you enough energy for the day. So that means your body wants to hold on to whatever amount of energy that it has, which can be fat or carbs, but usually it's fat. It's going to hold on to fat because it's it doesn't want to die. It's like that survival instinct. It want to holds on to the energy that that's going to sustain your life force. And without that, um, your body is just not never going to let something like that happen. So that's why those type of things occur, even though people are on a calorie deficit. And I think that,
Mhm,
yeah, that's definitely a good thing to bring up.
mhm,
But going back to zone two, also the main goal when people talk about training in the zone two area is to build aerobic endurance and metabolic efficiency. So you're, like I said already, you're building aerobic endurance, and that's going to contribute to your health in general, and that's going to increase, or for example, for a very sedentary people, uh, actually, excuse me, for people who like eating, who prefer eating more, doing this is going to increase um, your maintenance calories, because if
Mm.
your aerobic endurance is increasing, your body is just going to need more energy overall. So the more exercise you do, or the more the if you approach your exercise programming in an intelligent way, you can actually eat eat the same amount of foods, or or more foods than you thought you would have been able to, by just applying some zone 2 exercise into your routine. And it's not hard at all. What I find is that I can even multitask when I'm doing the zone 2 exercise. I can go on the treadmill, maybe get some work done if you have a spot where you can put a computer or something on the treadmill, or you can have a conversation with someone while you're exercising in zone 2. It's very relaxing, and not too strenuous, but you're still reaping uh, so many benefits. And this is like a prime example of more is not better, because people start to tap into to zones of exercise that their body is not capable of. And when it's not capable of doing those things, then it starts to shut down, and you experience all of these negative symptoms and things like that.
Yep.
And yeah,
Definitely.
that's why I think zone 2 is kind of that sweet spot. And when you look at fat loss programs, that's pretty much what they recommend. They
Mhm.
recommend things like very easy jogging, or a little bit faster paced walking, or maybe a stairmaster, or something that's not gonna tax the body too much, but it's still uh, gonna get your heart rate to around 60 to 70% of your max, and also build that aerobic endurance. And I think also people use this method when they want to build their aerobic endurance from very low to to high. So when you're going and doing trying to build aerobic endurance, starting slow and staying at slow until it's very comfortable is the better way to go. And
Oh,
jumping into anything too fast and too difficult, it's never going to work out for you.
and where does lifting weights fall?
Um, lifting uh, Lifting weights would kind of be even around zone 5, because lifting weights is more um, anaerobic, because
Mhm.
it's pretty much you're trying to do all out effort, and uh, you're not really exercising for a long period of time. You're only, say if you do a set of weights, that set is not going to be over a minute. So also the zones are related to the duration of of your of your training as well. So
So
for
then,
example,
mhm,
go
sorry.
ahead.
So because I'm doing the weightlifting as well as, nothing strenuous or I can't do, but enough to build some muscle to burn the calories, right? So, and then I'm taking the stroll, but it's helped burn the calories and the fat. Um, so it's healthy, right, to incorporate that. It's not every day, it's maybe every other day or every couple of days, with rest days in the middle. But it's been helpful. So why is that helpful? Is that considered high intensity interval training?
No, it's not. I wouldn't put it as high intensity interval training. That high intensity interval training, I mean, it does zone 5 does count as it, but I think weightlifting in general is is kind of separated from all of these 5 zones. Actually, I think I was wrong when saying it was zone 5. I don't even think it's really included in this whole scale, because this all of these zones have to do with cardio.
Got it. Okay.
So when you're um, lifting weights, that's all strength and muscle focus, and it doesn't really have to do with cardio at all. So zone five. So examples for zone five would be sprint intervals, hit training, like you said, or explosive circuit training, and that's like battle ropes, um, like like I just said, sprinting or doing any type of cardio exercise that you can only maintain for 15 seconds, or it could be even something like all out effort on a boxing bag or something like that.
So
That's
people
what zone.
say, I heard that hit training, the high intensity interval training is really good for a lot of reasons. For people with dysautonomia, it's good to do that stuff to actually help your metabolism, help your energy, and not drain you. Okay. But if it's zone five, if and I'm working to do this, and I'm supposed to be at zone two for a weight loss program and eating enough calories and nutrition in my diet, is the hit training actually optimal for me to do?
I wouldn't do it while you're in a deficit. When you want to get to your ideal or optimal weight, then and you want to be able to increase your output for that 0 to 15 second range as far as cardio, then
Mhm.
that's when I would recommend it. I wouldn't really recommend it for something like weight loss. I think these the zones above zone two I think are better suited for athletes and for performance purposes. I think as far as weight loss, zone two is still no matter what. This is just my opinion. But I think that's gonna be the most optimal zone for any person for weight loss because recovery there or yeah, recovery is not very impacted at all because you're not putting crazy amounts of stress on the body. You're doing a good amount of I wouldn't say damage, but you're putting a lot of stress on the body when you're tapping into uh, to the zones from anywhere from 3 to 5, especially if you're in a deficit. So I think if you want to increase your cardio and or cardiovascular endurance, tapping
Mhm.
into these zones when you're properly uh, when you're getting in your proper nutrition, then this is something I will look forward to. Not when you're in a deficit.
So for people like me and other people who have health issues and are trying to get to health, I'm what I'm understanding is obviously eat the right amount of nutritional calories that you need in your range, and then do zone two exercise and watch your body healthily burn fat and all your body functions kind of get back to normal. And when that's what I'm hearing from what you're saying, and that's what I'm experiencing, and I gotta say, and that alone is bringing, it's only been a day, but I gotta just say, wow, I'm surprised at all the boxes I'm able to check off, which I have not been able to do otherwise. Okay. And in one day. And I'm gonna see and I'm gonna show progress because I'm going to do the health challenge that you're gonna put out for other people with health issues to do, right? Because this is not just for weight loss. It's for maintaining health, getting good sleep, fixing your gut, being mind and body and emotionally, energy and spirit wise healthy. Because like Danny says, right? Phlegm misting the mind. And phlegm is always where the gut is. And if the gut is off, the mind is off, and you got mental, emotional issues going on. So you see how the mental emotional impacts your physical body, right? Because the emotions are and the thoughts are stored in the body to create the illness because they're toxic. Okay. And then once it gets stored in there and you got phlegm misting the mind, it's in the cycle. And everybody who's got stomach issues can't focus right. And their mind is overactive and their emotions are unsettled. So what I'm understanding is this whole challenge is to bring balance back to the body in every aspect, not necessarily a weight loss, but that's the added benefit if you're looking for weight loss. Am I correct? Or if you're trying to weight gain, that's the added benefit of eating enough to be able to have a healthy weight. Is that how the challenge will be?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you summed it up. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm excited. I'm already cheating because I already started it. you know, and I've experienced weight loss. I've lost a good amount of weight actually, but I mean, what happened between yesterday and today, that was mind-blowing for me. It's kind of like an epiphany. When we've been in the health industry for a long time, and I've made lots of good strides with taking the right vitamins and nutritions and supplements, moving the chemical medication out of our life pretty much, using eating clean and doing all these things. This is just hey, it's this easy. Is this simple? Just do a little bit of walking every day, get in your steps, and eat enough food. That's it. Can it be easier?
Yeah, it's people try to complicate it with things uh hit, for example, because there's a misconception that, oh, hit prolongs fat fat loss throughout the day, but they try to make up all of this other stuff to get you to do it, but and that just in the end leads people farther away from exercise in general and makes them demotivated. And
Hmm.
starting slow, starting where you're at and not where you you want to be is important, because
Hmm.
people try to start exercising at the spot where they want to be, and that turns out being a lot worse for them, because then they become unmotivated. It's too hard. Their body is is now too damaged from all the workouts they just did, and they're feeling so sore, they're feeling so tired, and they have no energy, and then they stop, and then the whole cycle repeats again.
Yeah.
And starting
I,
slow and starting with with the things like we said, they're they're really not. It's not anything too demanding. Um, of course, I know it depends on the person, but for as far as the average person, it's really nothing too demanding. And I think it's easy, and you can see a lot of results from from work that you wouldn't think would give you a lot.
yeah, I mean, I agree. Simple living, eat enough, do some exercise, do some breathing, yoga, meditation. I mean, you really don't have to do too much in order to be healthy, well balanced, have a good mindset, and feel calm every day. It's really not that hard work. In fact, it's simple work just to have an easy life. And we
Yep.
complicate everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's why goes it goes back to the general wellness awareness, because your people complicate things too much, and they're not aware of what works and the simple things. They try to put a put a button or put a ribbon on something that they think is gonna be some God sent solution for them, but it ends up just turning out to be some fad that sends them into a deeper hole anyway.
Hmm. Makes sense.
And yeah, well, I think we covered a lot of ground today. We covered the gut, the different zones that you should be training at, and how to really get results by not just doing by not doing minimal effort, by doing the right amount of effort, which I think people really need to know. But yeah, anything
Mhm.
else you have to add or say?
Oh, that's everything. I mean, I'm so happy for my results and I'm excited for what's to come. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. make sure you guys please like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, we're here on Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also, make sure you follow me and my brother's Instagram page on Instagram and TikTok. It's Coin HYW, KHOUNH.HYW. So please check that out. We have a couple of videos on there right now, and we're gonna be posting more in the future, and definitely having some good content on there as well. So please just check that out and keep up with all of our socials, and we're gonna keep pushing out content that's gonna give you good information.
And anybody who wants to join the challenge and be healthy in all aspects of your life, please reach out to Sahan and Joshan through Healing Your Way or their Instagram channel so you can participate.
Yep, exactly. We're willing to take on whoever wants to make the change in their life, and you can just DM us on Instagram or call us at Healing Your Ways number, which is 215-322-6035, and just say you watch the podcast and are interested in the challenge. We can get your contact info and get something going for you right away. And yeah, I hope some of you guys try to uh, try to actually be proactive with your life, and maybe this is a good opportunity for you to make the change and make the difference. So yeah, definitely consider that, and just know we'll always be open to whatever you need. But yeah,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much, and I will see you on the Friday's episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.